G'day, I'm Nick Stock, and with me is Simon Nash, who's the export manager for Mission Estate, hence our bottle. Simon,
Hello,
welcome.
g'day. Thank
Welcome
you.
to NZ Wine Online.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
No worries. Now, Simon, we are here to talk about this, I guess, brooding topic of regions and GIs and sub-regions. And it seems that there's a lot of talk about this in New Zealand. Do you see at the coalface, at the interface with consumers, as much talk as we sort of see behind the scenes?
Clearly, with the great mass of consumers who don't know a lot about wine, there isn't that degree of discussion. You know, we've got to sort of segment our consumers and understand that for a lot of people, a bottle of wine is something that they just want to get an enjoyable glass out of at a good price, and that's their particular level. Now
So what are they thinking about? Are they just thinking about brand name? Are they thinking about region? Are they thinking about New Zealand, grape variety? What's important to those people?
I think at that particular level, I think they're probably thinking about brand name. I'm hoping they're thinking about more than just price.
Yeah.
I think in reality an awful lot of them do think about price and what's on special. But they'll buy a wine if it is at a particular price, if it's a good brand. So they'll go as far as a brand. The next question is, can we take them a little bit further?
Yeah.
And that kind of comes back to your general question about GIs and the whole sort of architecture of how we try and explain wine to them regionally.
Because you take on a massive responsibility once you start saying, oh, you need to think of this as being Hawke's Bay or this as being Martinborough. You can't just do that. You have to say, and now we will teach you what to expect, because there's a lot of schooling and a lot of work to be done if you want to push that sort of GI and regionality agenda. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's my slight concern a little bit is I'm not sure who is taking on that responsibility. I think it's a necessary responsibility. I think the schooling, I think the story needs to begin with, let's say, New Zealand in its overall size and scale. Then you come down to the region, Hawke's Bay, Marlborough, and then you can take it down to the next level. If you have all of those things connected, then you've got a chance of developing a narrative. You can't just throw gimlet gravels at somebody in isolation. It means nothing whatsoever to them. I think you have to set the context.
Do you think that certain styles of wine, Pinot Noir for example, actually attach themselves more closely to that story? So do those consumers expect a bit more information of provenance and origin and GI and terroir, as opposed to, say, Sauvignon Blanc consumers who maybe are looking for just a more straightforward message?
Yeah, I think there are certain varieties that do. Pinot Noir certainly does. The Bordeaux varieties, I guess, by definition do, because really there's only one or two regions in New Zealand that can ripen those wines, the Syrah and the Cabernet and Merlot.
Being Hawke's Bay up north in particular?
In particular Hawke's Bay.
Yep.
Other varieties, Sauvignon Blanc as you say, and Chardonnay of course, are much less obviously regionally specific. And so maybe the regional story isn't quite so important to the average consumer for those particular varieties,
And Sauvignon just has such a full-on look at me sort of personality, doesn't it, as a grape variety? Like, it's really, really intense, really screams from their glass.
Well, it does, but it does. There's nothing like a Marlborough Sauvignon, probably the most recognisable wine, I would say, to try blind in the world.
Really?
Wouldn't you say? A glass of Marlborough Sauvignon is probably more immediately, instantly recognisable as that than almost any other single wine style I'd say in the world, because that flavour jumps out of you. If I put a glass of Hawke's Bay Sauvignon in front of you, different sort of message coming out there. The wine's not nearly so aromatically forward and pungent, is it?
Yeah.
So there is obviously regional differentiation even within Sauvignon Blanc and so on. And so we need to tell that regional story. But I think it's an easier story to tell with Pinot Noir, which is clearly more regionally sort of distinctive. The lighter coloured, more cherry, brighter acid of Pinot Noir from Marlborough versus the darker, chunkier, more weighty style from Central Otago versus the more layered, chocolatey, broader style of Martinborough.
I was going to guess. I was going to guess Martinborough.
There you are.
There you go. Well, all right, brilliant. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to consider, and I hope all of you out there find that interesting. And next time you sit down and have a glass of something from wherever it is and whatever you like, just stop and think about why that glass of wine tastes the way it tastes. And there's a lot of different things which all go to create what you taste in the glass.
Absolutely.
Simon, thanks for joining us,
Thanks
mate.
very much.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was
All
a
right.
good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And cheers.